Sometimes life feels heavy. You wake up and everything seems dark. Problems pile up. Stress builds quietly. You feel lost, stuck, and alone. It seems like there is no way forward. But even in the darkest moments, there is a spark, a way to find clarity, a way to regain hope, a way to take small steps that change everything. In this video, you will learn a simple, powerful way to find light when darkness surrounds you. This is not about magic. It's about focus, clarity, and action. You will discover how to calm your mind, regain control, and move forward. If you've ever felt overwhelmed, uncertain, or trapped, this message is for you. Pay close attention. Let it guide you. Let it give you the strength to take your first step out of the darkness today. Dark moments often arrive quietly, not with noise, but with silence. You wake up feeling heavy, even when nothing looks wrong on the outside. Your thoughts slow down. Hope feels distant. Many people experience this, yet few talk about it. Feeling surrounded by darkness does not mean you are weak. It means you are human. In these moments, the mind searches for answers. It replays old mistakes. It imagines worst outcomes. Fear grows when clarity fades. This is how darkness works. It confuses before it controls. Understanding this is important. Awareness is the first step toward change. Prayer in this state is not about perfect words. It is about honesty. A simple request for guidance can break mental isolation. When spoken with sincerity, prayer shifts attention away from fear. It opens space for calm thinking. This alone brings relief. God's light often enters as understanding, not emotion. You may not feel instant joy, but you begin to see differently. Small decisions feel clearer. Strength returns quietly. This is how light leads, slowly, gently, and effectively. Darkness can feel like being trapped inside your own thoughts. You may smile in public, but feel lost in private. The gap between how you feel and how you act becomes exhausting. Over time, this emotional weight affects confidence and focus. Many people believe darkness must be dramatic to be real. That belief is wrong. Darkness can look like tiredness, doubt, or loss of direction. Recognizing it without shame is important. Denial only deepens confusion. Prayer in this stage is an act of grounding. It brings the mind back to the present. When you ask for light, you ask for clarity. This clarity helps you separate facts from fear. It slows racing thoughts. As guidance grows, small changes appear. You sleep better. You react less emotionally. You feel steady again. This is not coincidence. It is alignment. Light does not push. It guides. Sometimes darkness comes after disappointment. Something you trusted failed you. A plan collapsed. A relationship changed. The mind begins to question everything. Confidence weakens when expectations break. In these moments, people often blame themselves. They replay events repeatedly. This mental loop feeds anxiety. It keeps the past alive. Letting go feels impossible without help. Prayer becomes a release, not a request. Speaking your pain reduces its control. Asking for direction shifts focus from loss to possibility. This change is subtle but powerful. God's light does not erase the past. It repositions it. You begin to learn instead of regret. Strength grows where confusion once lived. Forward movement begins again. Darkness can also come from uncertainty. Not knowing what comes next creates pressure. Decisions feel heavy. Every choice feels risky. This mental tension drains energy. The mind wants guarantees, but life offers none. This gap creates stress. Without guidance, people freeze. They delay action. Fear disguises itself as caution. Prayer here becomes a moment of surrender, not giving up, but releasing control. Asking for light invites perspective. Perspective reduces pressure. As guidance settles in, direction becomes clearer. Not every answer appears, But the next step does. Confidence returns slowly. Movement replaces fear. Some people feel darkness even when life seems successful. This confuses them. They question their gratitude. They feel guilty for feeling empty. This internal conflict deepens emotional strain. Darkness is not always caused by lack. Sometimes it comes from misalignment. Living without purpose creates quiet dissatisfaction. Ignoring this feeling increases it. Prayer helps realign inner values. It brings attention inward. Asking for light reveals what truly matters. This clarity feels grounding. As priorities shift, peace follows. Life feels meaningful again. Direction replaces emptiness. This is how life restores balance. Darkness sometimes shows up as constant overthinking. Your mind never rests. Even small problems feel large. You replay conversations. You imagine outcomes that have not happened. This mental pressure slowly drains peace. When thoughts spiral, logic alone often fails. Advice from others feels distant. The mind needs a pause, not more noise. This is where prayer becomes useful, not emotional. It creates mental stillness. Speaking a calm prayer shifts attention inward. Breathing slows. Thoughts lose urgency. Asking for light is asking for clarity, not escape. This helps regain mental control. Soon, thinking becomes organized again. Decisions feel manageable. The mind stops fighting itself. This quiet clarity is how guidance works in real life. Darkness can grow during isolation. Even surrounded by people, you may feel unseen. Conversations feel shallow. You stop sharing how you truly feel. Loneliness increases silently. This isolation creates emotional distance. You stop trusting connection. The heart closes slowly, without expression. Pain stays trapped inside. Prayer becomes a private release. No pressure, no performance, just honesty. Asking for light opens emotional space where truth can breathe. With time, connection returns naturally. You speak more freely. You listen with patience. Relationships feel safer again. Light restores openness. Some darkness begins with fear of failure. You want progress, but fear holds you still. Every step feels risky. This fear slowly shapes your choices. Avoidance feels safe at first, but over time it limits growth. Regret replaces risk. Confidence fades quietly. Prayer shifts focus from fear to trust. Asking for direction reduces pressure. You stop needing perfect outcomes. You focus on steady steps. As fear loosens, courage returns. You act again. Confidence rebuilds. Light guides through action, not waiting. Darkness can come from unresolved pain. Old wounds resurface unexpectedly. A memory, a word, or a place triggers discomfort. The past interrupts the present. Ignoring pain does not remove it. It hides temporarily. Over time, it shapes reactions and emotions. Healing requires awareness. Prayer allows safe reflection. You acknowledge pain without judgment. Asking for light brings understanding, not blame. Gradually, emotional weight reduces. Triggers lose power. Peace replaces tension. Healing becomes possible again. Sometimes darkness appears as loss of motivation. You feel tired without reason. Goals feel distant. Energy fades even after rest. This state often confuses people. They push harder and feel worse. Burnout grows quietly. Prayer creates pause instead of pressure. Asking for light restores balance. It reminds the mind to slow down. Energy returns naturally. Purpose feels reachable again. Motivation rebuilds steadily. Light renews focus. Darkness may come through comparison. You measure your life against others. Their progress feels faster. Their success feels louder. Comparison feeds dissatisfaction. Gratitude weakens. Self-worth depends on external results. Prayer redirects attention inward. Asking for guidance restores perspective. You focus on your path, not theirs. Confidence strengthens. Peace grows. Progress feels personal again. Light restores self-trust. Some darkness forms during major change. New responsibilities arrive. Old routines disappear. Uncertainty increases. Change challenges identity. You question your abilities. Fear grows during transition. Prayer grounds the mind during instability. Asking for light offers reassurance. It reminds you change is temporary. Adaptation becomes easier. Confidence follows experience. Growth replaces fear. Light supports transition. Darkness can appear through guilt. Past choices weigh heavily. You replay mistakes repeatedly. Forgiveness feels distant. Guilt distorts self-image. You define yourself by errors. Hope weakens. Prayer encourages release. Asking for light reframes mistakes as lessons. Growth becomes possible. Self-acceptance returns. Peace replaces shame. Forward movement begins again. Some darkness comes from pressure to please others. You ignore personal needs. You say yes too often. Exhaustion grows. People-pleasing creates inner conflict. Boundaries disappear. Resentment builds silently. Prayer restores balance. Asking for light clarifies priorities. Self-respect returns. Boundaries strengthen naturally. Relationships improve. Peace replaces pressure. Darkness may arrive through unanswered questions. You want certainty. Life offers none. Frustration builds. Uncertainty creates anxiety. The mind seeks control. Stress follows. Prayer teaches patience. Asking for light accepts gradual understanding. Trust grows. Clarity unfolds step by step. Calm replaces urgency. Light guides progress. Darkness can grow when life feels repetitive. Days blend together. You wake up, work, sleep, and repeat. Over time, meaning starts to fade. You may feel stuck without knowing why. This routine slowly drains curiosity. The mind stops expecting change. Hope becomes passive instead of active. This emotional numbness is often mistaken for stability. Prayer in this phase becomes a moment of awakening. Asking for light refreshes awareness. It helps you notice what has been ignored for too long. New energy appears through small insights. Interest returns. Purpose feels reachable again. Light renews awareness. Some darkness comes from broken trust. Someone you relied on disappointed you. Words no longer feel safe. Distance replaces connection. Trust loss affects confidence. You question your judgment. Guarded thinking becomes automatic. Prayer offers emotional repair. Asking for light restores inner safety. It helps separate one experience from all future ones. Slowly, trust rebuilds. Not blindly, but wisely. Openness returns with strength. Light heals cautious hearts. Darkness can appear during waiting seasons. You do everything right, yet nothing moves. Effort feels unrewarded. Patience wears thin. Waiting creates frustration. Doubt grows. You question timing and worth. Prayer brings peace into waiting. Asking for light reframes delay as preparation. This reduces pressure. Understanding deepens. Timing becomes clearer. Calm replaces urgency. Light supports endurance. Some darkness comes from inner conflict. You want change, but fear resists it. Part of you moves forward. Another holds back. This tension creates mental exhaustion. Decision-making feels heavy. Confidence splits. Prayer centers the mind. Asking for light unifies intention. Inner clarity strengthens resolve. Choices become easier. Direction feels aligned. Light restores inner harmony. Darkness may come from lack of rest. The body is tired. The mind stays active. Recovery never feels complete. Fatigue distorts perception. Small problems feel overwhelming. Emotions react faster. Prayer encourages stillness. Asking for light invites rest, not effort. Calm thinking returns. Energy rebuilds naturally. Balance improves. Light supports restoration. Some darkness forms through unresolved anger. Frustration stays unspoken. It hides beneath calm behavior. Anger drains energy when suppressed. It clouds judgment. Relationships feel strained. Prayer creates safe release. Asking for light clarifies emotion without harm. Peace replaces tension. Emotional clarity returns. Light restores balance. Darkness can come from fear of judgment. You silence your voice. You hide opinions. Expression feels risky. This fear limits authenticity. Confidence shrinks. Self-expression weakens. Prayer restores courage. Asking for light strengthens self-trust. Inner confidence grows. Expression becomes natural again. Confidence stabilizes. Light supports authenticity. Some darkness appears after major achievement. Goals are reached. Satisfaction fades quickly. Emptiness follows success. Achievement without meaning feels hollow. Purpose feels missing. Prayer refocuses intention. Asking for light reconnects success to purpose. Fulfillment deepens. Direction returns. Light restores meaning. Darkness may come from confusion about identity. Roles change. Expectations shift. You feel unsure of yourself. Identity confusion creates insecurity. Decisions feel unstable. Prayer clarifies values. Asking for light reveals what stays constant. Confidence stabilizes. Self-understanding grows. Light supports clarity. Some darkness comes from emotional overload. Too much information. Too many responsibilities. The mind feels crowded. Overload reduces focus. Stress builds quietly. Peace disappears. Prayer simplifies thought. Asking for light clears mental noise. Focus improves. Calm returns. Light restores clarity. Darkness sometimes appears when expectations collapse. You imagined a certain future. Reality chose a different path. This gap creates disappointment that slowly settles in. Unmet expectations reshape thinking. Hope feels fragile. You hesitate to plan again. Confidence becomes cautious. Prayer helps reset perspective. Asking for light reframes disappointment as redirection. This softens emotional resistance. Openness returns. New possibilities appear. Trust in the process grows again. Light restores adaptability. Some darkness comes from emotional detachment. You stop reacting. Feelings flatten. Joy and sadness both feel distant. Detachment often forms as protection. The mind avoids pain by avoiding emotion. Over time, connection weakens. Prayer gently reopens emotional awareness. Asking for light invites feeling without fear. Emotions return naturally. Sensitivity balances. Light restores connection. Darkness may come from lack of control. Situations shift unexpectedly. Plans change without warning. Stability feels threatened. Loss of control creates anxiety. The mind tries to manage everything. Stress follows. Prayer releases control. Asking for light accepts uncertainty. Calm thinking returns. Flexibility increases. Peace grows. Light guides through change. Some darkness forms through internal pressure. You demand perfection. Mistakes feel unacceptable. Progress feels slow. Perfectionism fuels stress. Satisfaction disappears. Motivation weakens. Prayer reduces pressure. Asking for light encourages balance, not demand. Self-acceptance grows. Progress feels natural. Light supports healthy growth. Darkness can appear through emotional exhaustion. You care deeply. You give constantly. Nothing feels returned. Emotional fatigue limits compassion. Irritation rises. Patience fades. Prayer restores inner resources. Asking for light renews emotional strength. Balance returns. Giving feels healthy again. Light restores resilience. Some darkness comes from fear of the unknown. Change feels unsafe. Predictability feels comforting. Fear limits opportunity. Growth feels risky. Comfort becomes confinement. Prayer builds trust. Asking for light supports courage. Readiness grows. Movement replaces hesitation. Confidence increases. Light encourages progress. Darkness may come from unresolved questions. You seek answers. None arrive. Frustration builds. Uncertainty creates mental strain. Focus drifts. Peace fades. Prayer invites patience. Asking for light supports acceptance of timing. Understanding unfolds gradually. Calm replaces urgency. Light sustains trust. Some darkness appears through emotional comparison. You measure struggles against others' success. Confidence weakens. Comparison distorts self-worth. Progress feels insufficient. Prayer restores self-focus. Asking for light reinforces personal value. Confidence strengthens. Direction stabilizes. Light supports self-respect. Darkness can come from internal resistance. You sense change is needed. You delay action. Avoidance feeds discomfort. Anxiety grows quietly. Prayer clarifies intention. Asking for light strengthens decision-making. Action feels possible. Relief follows movement. Light supports progress. Some darkness comes from emotional imbalance. You swing between extremes. Calm feels rare. Instability drains energy. Focus suffers. Peace disappears. Prayer steadies emotions. Asking for light brings balance. Stability returns. Calm strengthens. Light restores emotional control. Darkness can appear when your effort goes unnoticed. You work hard, stay consistent, and still feel invisible. Recognition never comes. Over time, motivation begins to fade. Not because you lack ability, but because appreciation feels absent. This lack of acknowledgement slowly affects self-belief. You start questioning your value. Doubt creeps in quietly. The mind begins to wonder if effort even matters anymore. Prayer in this moment is not about reward. It is about reassurance. Asking for light restores inner confidence, reminding you that worth is not defined by applause. With renewed clarity, effort feels meaningful again. You continue with purpose, not pressure. Confidence stabilizes. Light strengthens inner validation. Some darkness forms after emotional disappointment. You trusted an outcome. You believed in a promise. When it fell apart, confusion replaced certainty. Disappointment changes expectations. You lower hope to avoid pain. This emotional defense limits future optimism. Prayer helps process disappointment without bitterness. Asking for light allows understanding instead of resentment. Hope rebuilds gradually. Trust returns carefully. Light restores emotional openness. Darkness may grow from constant noise. Information overload surrounds you. News, opinions, demands never stop. Mental fatigue becomes normal. Noise disrupts focus. Clarity disappears. Decisions feel rushed. Stress becomes constant. Prayer creates silence. Asking for light clears mental clutter. Thought slows naturally. Focus improves. Calm returns. Light restores mental space. Some darkness appears when identity is challenged. People label you unfairly. Their words linger. Self-image becomes unstable. External judgment shapes internal doubt. Confidence weakens. Expression becomes guarded. Prayer rebuilds inner truth. Asking for light strengthens self-understanding beyond opinion. Confidence stabilizes. Authenticity returns. Light restores self-assurance. Darkness can come from emotional imbalance caused by change. New roles demand more responsibility. Pressure increases quietly. Adjustment requires energy. Stress rises. Fatigue follows. Prayer offers grounding. Asking for light supports adaptation without overwhelm. Confidence grows with experience. Stability returns. Light supports growth. Some darkness forms through regret over missed chances, opportunities past. You replay decisions repeatedly. Regret traps the mind in the past. Forward thinking becomes difficult. Prayer shifts focus forward. Asking for light reframes mistakes as learning. Motivation returns. Direction feels possible again. Light restores momentum. Darkness may come from emotional dependence. You rely too much on approval. Without it, confidence drops. Dependence weakens self-trust. Fear of rejection grows. Prayer strengthens independence. Asking for light restores inner confidence. Self-worth stabilizes. Confidence becomes internal. Light supports autonomy. Some darkness appears during prolonged uncertainty. Answers delay. Direction remains unclear. Patience wears thin. Waiting creates frustration. Doubt challenges resolve. Prayer supports endurance. Asking for light reinforces trust in timing. Calm replaces impatience. Strength grows quietly. Light sustains perseverance. Darkness can come from emotional conflict between logic and feeling. The mind says one thing. The heart says another. Internal conflict drains energy. Decisions stall. Stress increases. Prayer brings alignment. Asking for light clarifies priority and purpose. Decisions feel unified. Peace returns. Light restores inner harmony. Some darkness forms when personal boundaries collapse. You give too much. You receive little rest. Overextension causes exhaustion. Resentment builds quietly. Prayer restores balance. Asking for light clarifies limits and needs. Boundaries strengthen. Energy returns. Light supports sustainability. Darkness can come when progress feels painfully slow. You are moving, but results lag behind effort. Each step feels small. Doubt grows because patience is tested daily. Slow progress challenges confidence. You begin to question your direction. Motivation weakens when rewards feel distant. Prayer becomes a stabilizing pause. Asking for light helps you recognize growth that is not visible yet. It reframes slow movement as steady development. With this clarity, persistence returns. You stop rushing outcomes. Confidence strengthens quietly. Light supports consistency. Some darkness forms after emotional rejection. Someone dismisses your idea, feeling, or presence. The experience lingers longer than expected. Rejection can distort self-worth. You replay the moment repeatedly. Fear of future rejection increases. Prayer allows emotional processing without bitterness. Asking for light restores self-respect and perspective. Courage returns gradually. Expression feels safer again. Light rebuilds emotional confidence. Darkness may appear when responsibility becomes overwhelming. Too many people depend on you. Pressure builds silently. Carrying constant responsibility drains emotional reserves. Fatigue becomes mental before physical. Prayer provides release from internal pressure. Asking for light helps you prioritize without guilt. Balance improves. Responsibility feels manageable again. Light restores emotional strength. Some darkness grows from unresolved confusion. Mixed signals surround you. Advice conflicts. Direction feels unclear. Confusion leads to hesitation. Decisions stall. Anxiety grows quietly. Prayer creates internal order. Asking for light clarifies what truly matters. Focus returns. Decisions feel grounded. Light restores clarity. Darkness can come from emotional numbness. After repeated stress, you stop reacting strongly. Everything feels muted. Numbness protects temporarily but limits joy. Connection weakens. Prayer gently restores awareness. Asking for light reopens emotional sensitivity. Feeling returns naturally. Balance forms. Light supports emotional renewal. Some darkness forms when trust in timing fades. You feel late, others seem ahead. Pressure builds. This belief creates urgency. Peace disappears. Comparison grows. Prayer reframes timing. Asking for light restores trust in personal pace. Calm replaces urgency. Confidence returns. Light supports patience. Darkness may arise from internal criticism. Your inner voice becomes harsh. Mistakes feel heavy. Self-criticism erodes confidence. Motivation weakens. Prayer softens inner dialogue. Asking for light encourages compassion toward yourself. Self-support grows. Confidence stabilizes. Light restores balance. Some darkness appears when safety feels uncertain. Stability shifts. Predictability disappears. Uncertainty heightens anxiety. The mind searches for control. Prayer strengthens inner security. Asking for light restores trust beyond circumstances. Calm grows. Stability feels internal. Light supports resilience. Darkness can come from emotional overload caused by caring too deeply. You absorb others' stress. It becomes your own. Emotional absorption drains energy. Boundaries blur. Prayer restores separation. Asking for light protects emotional space. Balance returns. Compassion remains healthy. Light supports emotional strength. Some darkness forms when confidence depends on results alone. Success defines worth. Failure feels personal. This mindset creates fear. Risk feels dangerous. Prayer reframes identity. Asking for light restores self-worth beyond outcomes. Confidence stabilizes. Action feels free again. Light supports courage. Darkness can arrive when ambition feels blocked. You see the path, but obstacles appear everywhere. Plans crumble despite careful effort. Frustration grows quietly, making you question if your goals are even possible. Repeated setbacks erode self-belief. You begin to doubt talent and effort. Confidence wavers, and hesitation becomes your default response to new opportunities. Prayer becomes a moment to reset perspective. Asking for light here is not about removing challenges, but finding clarity in how to approach them differently. This gives the mind space to strategize without panic. Gradually, new solutions emerge. Small successes rebuild trust in your own ability. Determination strengthens, and light guides your focus back to meaningful progress. Some darkness forms when relationships feel unbalanced. You give more than you receive. Emotional exchanges feel one-sided. Over time, frustration and resentment build quietly inside. Imbalance causes inner conflict. You question whether your effort matters. Overthinking becomes habitual, clouding judgment and patience. Prayer offers a pause to regain perspective. Asking for light restores awareness of limits, helping you approach connections more consciously rather than reactively. Balance slowly returns. Interactions feel healthier. Emotional energy restores naturally. Light reinforces boundaries without shutting the heart down. Darkness can emerge when career pressure mounts. Deadlines pile up, expectations seem impossible to meet. Mental strain accumulates with every small task. This pressure slowly saps creativity and focus. The mind feels trapped in constant obligation, leaving no room for thoughtful decision-making. Prayer becomes a tool for mental reset. Asking for light here allows for clarity and prioritization, helping you distinguish urgency from importance. Step by step, you regain control. Tasks feel manageable. Motivation returns. Light restores mental clarity and emotional stability. Some darkness comes from self-doubt in social situations. You speak cautiously. You second-guess opinions. Fear of judgment clouds communication. Self-doubt grows quietly. Confidence retreats. Even small social interactions become draining and stressful. Prayer acts as a grounding exercise. Asking for light reinforces self-trust and helps you recognize that your perspective has value. Gradually, social engagement becomes easier. Expression feels natural. Light restores authenticity in how you interact with others. Darkness can arrive through financial stress. Unexpected bills, loss of income, or mounting debts create anxiety. The mind races through what-if scenarios. Financial pressure triggers sleeplessness and tension. Decision-making feels paralyzed as the weight of responsibility increases. Prayer provides a mental pause. Asking for light encourages strategic thinking instead of panic, allowing calm assessment of available options. Over time, clarity improves. Plans feel actionable. Stress diminishes. Light restores confidence in managing challenges. Some darkness appears when personal values conflict with external expectations. Society, family, or friends push you in one direction while your instincts pull another way. This internal conflict creates confusion and hesitation. The mind struggles to reconcile authenticity with approval. Prayer becomes reflection. Asking for light strengthens awareness of priorities, reinforcing choices aligned with inner values. Decision-making feels grounded. Integrity guides action. Light restores alignment between choices and true self. Darkness can creep in during times of loneliness. You are surrounded by people but feel disconnected. Conversations feel superficial. Emotional isolation grows silently. Loneliness weakens optimism and can intensify negative thinking patterns. You begin to question if anyone truly understands your experience. Prayer provides a private space for connection and introspection. Asking for light restores hope, even when external affirmation is absent. Emotional openness gradually returns. Connection feels possible again. Light restores faith in personal resilience and human connection. Some darkness comes after a major change in routine. Daily habits are disrupted. Familiarity disappears. You feel unmoored, and uncertainty grows. Disruption can lead to stress and anxiety. The mind struggles to adjust, creating emotional tension and overthinking. Prayer creates mental stillness. Asking for light supports adaptability, helping you regain balance without resistance. Step by step, comfort returns. New routines feel manageable. Light restores confidence in navigating change. Darkness may appear when guilt over past mistakes persists. You replay errors endlessly. Self-blame dominates thoughts and clouds emotional clarity. Persistent guilt limits self-compassion. You feel trapped in a cycle that prevents growth and emotional recovery. Prayer offers release. Asking for light allows acknowledgement of mistakes without letting them define your present or future. Gradually, acceptance grows. Emotional peace returns. Light restores focus on productive actions rather than regret. Some darkness forms from overstimulation. Too many inputs, messages, notifications, news, and tasks crowd your mind. You feel constantly pulled in different directions. Overstimulation reduces focus, increases tension, and drains energy. Your mind struggles to prioritize what truly matters. Prayer provides a pause to recalibrate. Asking for light restores clarity, helping distinguish important matters from distractions. Mental clarity improves. Tasks become manageable. Calm and focus return. Light supports emotional and cognitive balance. Darkness can appear when your energy feels drained by constant obligations. You are pulled in every direction, trying to meet expectations that never end. Days feel heavy, and rest seems impossible. Over time, exhaustion clouds. Judgment. Decisions feel harder. Motivation fades, and even small tasks feel overwhelming. You begin questioning your capacity to cope. Prayer acts as a moment of mental relief. Asking for light allows the mind to reset, prioritize, and regain perspective without guilt or judgment. Slowly, energy begins to return. Tasks feel manageable again. Focus improves, and a sense of calm restores your ability to move forward. Light strengthens endurance and mental clarity. Some darkness comes from repeated misunderstandings in communication. Words are misinterpreted. Intentions are doubted. Tension builds silently over time. Miscommunication erodes trust and patience. You may become hesitant to speak or withdraw, leaving feelings unresolved and emotions bottled up. Prayer provides space for clarity. Asking for light encourages reflection before reaction, allowing you to approach situations with understanding instead of frustration. Gradually, communication improves. Conversations feel constructive again. Patience strengthens. Light restores harmony in interactions and confidence in expressing yourself. Darkness may appear when personal goals feel out of reach. Despite effort, progress is slow or inconsistent. You start questioning whether ambition is realistic. Prolonged struggle erodes optimism. You may compare yourself to others who seem further ahead, intensifying self-doubt and frustration. Prayer creates mental space to focus on achievable steps. Asking for light restores perspective, helping you see progress that was previously overlooked. Step by step, motivation returns. Small wins build momentum. Confidence grows and clarity of direction emerges. Light supports persistence and steady growth. Some darkness forms when emotional vulnerability feels risky. You avoid expressing feelings. You fear judgment or rejection, which isolates you emotionally. Suppressed emotions accumulate quietly, leading to tension, stress, and inner conflict. Over time, this reduces your ability to connect authentically. Prayer offers safe reflection. Asking for light encourages honesty with yourself and fosters internal courage without external pressure. Gradually, emotional openness returns. You feel freer to express thoughts and emotions. Light restores trust in both yourself and your interactions. Darkness can arrive when disappointment follows high expectations. You anticipated a positive outcome, but reality fell short. Frustration and sadness linger. Unmet expectations create self-questioning. Confidence wavers, and you hesitate to commit to future opportunities, fearing repeated failure. Prayer allows mental reset. Asking for light does not remove challenges, but helps reframe the experience as a lesson rather than a loss. Over time, understanding grows, patience strengthens, perspective improves, light restores hope, and readiness to engage with new possibilities. Some darkness appears when external circumstances feel chaotic. You face unpredictable events, conflicts, or pressures from multiple directions simultaneously. The mind feels scattered. Chaos breeds stress and confusion. You may struggle to prioritize, make decisions, or maintain focus, leading to fatigue and anxiety. Prayer creates a temporary stillness. Asking for light allows the mind to pause, organize thoughts, and regain control over emotional reactions. Gradually, clarity returns. Priorities become apparent. Calm replaces tension. Light restores focus and composure amid uncertainty. Darkness can form when fear of failure dominates thinking. You hesitate to act. Risks feel threatening, even when opportunities are promising. Fear distorts perception. Minor setbacks feel catastrophic. Confidence weakens, and the mind becomes paralyzed with indecision. Prayer shifts focus from fear to measured action. Asking for light strengthens resolve and supports clear thinking without impulsive decisions. Step by step, courage returns. Action feels manageable. Confidence strengthens. Light guides you through challenges with clarity and determination. Some darkness arises when personal growth feels stagnant. You try to improve, but habits resist change. Progress seems minimal despite consistent effort. Stagnation breeds frustration and self-criticism. You may question ability or motivation, lowering morale and focus. Prayer helps reset the mental state. Asking for light encourages perspective, allowing you to recognize incremental progress and renewed opportunities for growth. Slowly, motivation returns. Incremental achievements build confidence. Forward movement feels possible again. Light reinforces patience and persistence. Darkness may appear when past mistakes linger in memory. You replay events endlessly, imagining alternative outcomes and feeling regret. Persistent focus on the past diminishes energy for the present. Stress accumulates and confidence suffers. Prayer allows reflection without self-condemnation. Asking for light provides perspective, helping you see lessons rather than failures. Gradually, emotional burden lifts. Acceptance grows. Decisions feel easier. Light restores peace and focus on current possibilities. Some darkness forms when opportunities seem limited. You see potential, but face obstacles beyond your control. Frustration and impatience build quietly. Limited opportunities challenge patience and self-belief. You may question whether effort is worthwhile or if circumstances are unfair. Prayer helps shift attention to what can be influenced. Asking for light restores focus on actionable steps, perspective, and patience. Gradually, new paths emerge. Confidence in navigating obstacles returns. Light reinforces resilience and thoughtful decision-making. Darkness can come when life feels unpredictable. Plans change unexpectedly. Events spiral out of your control, leaving you anxious and restless. You start overthinking every possibility, imagining worst-case scenarios and doubting your ability to cope. The mind races, and sleep feels elusive. As tension builds silently, emotional energy drains without warning, leaving you mentally exhausted. Even small tasks feel heavier because the weight of uncertainty clouds focus and clarity. It becomes easy to feel trapped, as if every choice leads to more chaos rather than resolution. Over time, constant unpredictability erodes self-confidence. You hesitate to take action. Every decision feels risky, and fear of mistakes grows stronger than the desire to move forward. You may start to avoid opportunities entirely, reasoning that safety lies in inaction. However, avoiding movement only deepens anxiety, making the situation feel more oppressive and overwhelming. The mind becomes stuck in cycles of worry, replaying scenarios endlessly and amplifying stress without producing solutions. Prayer serves as a moment of grounding amidst the chaos. Asking for light does not magically remove challenges, but it brings mental stillness and perspective. By acknowledging your limitations and focusing on what can be influenced, you create space for clarity. Instead of reacting impulsively, you begin to prioritize steps logically, reduce unnecessary worry, and regain control over your thought patterns. This quiet process strengthens resilience and restores the ability to make clear, confident choices, even in uncertain conditions. Gradually, predictability returns in subtle ways. You notice small patterns, solutions appear, and decisions feel manageable again. Confidence builds as the mind regains stability. Light does not remove challenges, but illuminates the path, allowing progress to emerge naturally. The tension that once dominated your days transforms into a steady focus, and life begins to feel navigable once more. Through this slow process, clarity, courage, and calm grow together, restoring emotional and mental balance. Some darkness forms when you feel disconnected from your own goals. You have dreams, but daily life consumes your energy. Responsibilities pile up, leaving little room for reflection. Slowly, ambition feels distant, replaced by routine and obligation. You begin to wonder if the effort is worth it, questioning your purpose without even realizing it. Energy drains as your mind becomes entangled in tasks that seem endless, and passion for your own life goals feels out of reach. Days pass in motion, but fulfillment is absent, leaving an internal emptiness that grows quietly. This sense of disconnection gradually weakens confidence. You compare yourself to others who seem more motivated, more accomplished, more alive. Frustration grows, creating a sense of stagnation that is difficult to escape. Mental fog sets in, making even small steps toward your goals seem monumental. You may find yourself procrastinating, not out of laziness, but from a lack of clarity and direction, trapped in a cycle of inaction that heightens your anxiety. Prayer provides a safe pause to regain perspective. Asking for light allows you to reconnect with what truly matters and refocus energy on priorities that align with your values. It does not remove the work required, but helps the mind recognize what is worth pursuing, reducing mental clutter and emotional fatigue. Slowly, a sense of purpose returns as you begin to identify actionable steps that are meaningful rather than exhausting. Step by step, motivation grows again. You notice opportunities you previously overlooked. Confidence strengthens as effort, aligns with intention, and focus becomes sharp instead of scattered. Light illuminates possibilities, transforming a sense of stagnation into forward movement. The connection to your own goals becomes tangible once more, and each action, no matter how small, contributes to renewed momentum and inner fulfillment. Darkness may appear when disappointment lingers longer than expected. You invest time, effort, or emotion into something meaningful, only to have results fall short. The failure feels personal, even if circumstances were beyond your control. Thoughts replay events repeatedly, imagining alternative outcomes that never happened. Frustration grows quietly, overshadowing previous hope, and the emotional strain begins to affect focus, relationships, and self-belief. Every attempt at optimism feels fragile, as if it will be broken the moment something unexpected occurs again. This lingering disappointment creates self-doubt and hesitation. You may avoid opportunities or interactions that could risk another failure. Overthinking dominates decisions, and mental energy is consumed by fear of repeating mistakes. Even when good moments occur, they are overshadowed by the weight of past letdowns, creating a cycle where discouragement reinforces itself and prevents action. Prayer offers a moment of mental reset. Asking for light does not change the past, but allows perspective to shift from regret to understanding. You can observe failures objectively, recognizing lessons and insights rather than emotional punishment. This reflective process helps restore focus, reduce anxiety, and prepare the mind to act again with clarity and confidence. Gradually, resilience grows. You take action cautiously, but confidently. Each small success reinforces self-belief and diminishes the impact of previous disappointments. The emotional burden lifts and motivation returns. Light illuminates both the path forward and the wisdom gained from past experience, enabling progress without fear of repeating the past. Some darkness comes from prolonged stress that feels invisible to others. You meet expectations outwardly, maintain composure, and appear capable, but internally, the weight is relentless. Tasks feel heavier than they should. Focus slips, and even small interruptions trigger frustration. Mental and emotional exhaustion accumulate quietly, unnoticed by the outside world, yet they dominate every internal thought. Energy diminishes, motivation wanes, and a sense of being trapped under constant pressure builds silently. This invisible stress erodes self-confidence and clarity. You start to question your ability to manage responsibilities. Anxiety becomes habitual, affecting decision-making and emotional responses. Over time, coping mechanisms weaken, leaving you emotionally vulnerable, even while continuing to perform outwardly. Prayer allows the mind to release tension and recalibrate priorities. Asking for light does not remove responsibilities, but restores clarity, focus, and mental resilience. It creates an internal space to evaluate what truly matters, reducing emotional overwhelm and mental fatigue. Step by step, you regain control. Tasks feel achievable again. Stress diminishes, and confidence returns. Light guides focus, helping the mind prioritize and restore energy. With renewed clarity, you begin moving forward without feeling crushed by invisible pressures, regaining a sense of capability and calm. Darkness can form when you feel isolated in your responsibilities. You carry the weight of work, family, or personal obligations alone. The constant demand leaves no space for reflection or rest. The mind becomes consumed with problem solving and anticipation of potential crises, which creates mental exhaustion. Over time, even small setbacks feel amplified, and the burden seems heavier than your energy can sustain. The feeling of isolation intensifies, making support feel distant, even when it is available. Carrying this weight alone diminishes confidence. You second-guess decisions, overanalyze every choice, and feel trapped in a cycle of constant vigilance. Mental fatigue reduces patience and increases irritability, making it difficult to maintain equilibrium under ongoing pressure. Prayer acts as a moment of internal support. Asking for light allows the mind to regroup, focus, and recognize what is manageable versus what is beyond control. It fosters resilience, mental organization, and a sense of calm that is necessary to approach challenges logically rather than emotionally. Gradually, a sense of balance returns. You can prioritize effectively, manage responsibilities with steadiness, and approach challenges without feeling crushed. Light restores perspective, confidence, and energy, providing the strength to carry obligations without feeling overwhelmed. Some darkness arises when emotional fatigue accumulates unnoticed. You constantly give attention to others or situations, rarely pausing for yourself. Energy is consumed faster than it is replenished, leaving the mind foggy and the heart weary. Tasks feel burdensome, focus diminishes, and frustration rises. The fatigue seeps into decisions, relationships, and motivation, creating a quiet sense of being stuck or unable to move forward effectively. Prolonged emotional fatigue impacts confidence. You start to doubt judgment and abilities, feeling as though you are failing despite effort. Emotional withdrawal begins, and engagement in both personal and professional life decreases. Mental resilience diminishes as stress compounds silently. Prayer creates a restorative moment. Asking for light allows awareness of emotional needs, prioritizing self-care without guilt, and bringing clarity to what truly requires attention. It provides a mental pause to recalibrate priorities and regain strength. Gradually, energy and focus return. Tasks become manageable, and decisions feel more deliberate. Confidence rebuilds steadily, and emotional stability strengthens. Light illuminates clarity and balance, allowing progress without overexertion. Darkness can appear when goals conflict with personal limits. You have ambition, yet your body or mind struggles to keep pace. Frustration emerges as effort meets resistance, creating tension between desire and capability. Mental pressure builds quietly as you attempt to bridge the gap between expectations and reality. Stress accumulates, making every decision feel heavier, and the sense of being trapped between what is possible and what is needed grows. This internal conflict weakens motivation. Doubt increases, focus fragments, and hesitation dominates actions. The mind becomes consumed with balancing effort and self-preservation, making it difficult to take meaningful steps forward. Prayer provides a moment of grounding. Asking for light does not remove limitations, but helps clarify priorities and sustainable steps. It fosters understanding of what can be achieved while maintaining stability, reducing mental strain. Gradually, alignment occurs. You recognize achievable goals, prioritize effectively, and regain motivation. Confidence strengthens, and a sense of steady progress replaces the previous tension. Light illuminates realistic paths toward growth and accomplishment. Some darkness arises when fear of criticism dominates thinking. You hesitate to speak or act, worried about how others perceive your choices. Overthinking magnifies potential mistakes, leaving decisions delayed and opportunities missed. Emotional tension rises quietly, while external interactions may remain unaffected, masking the stress internally. This internal pressure reduces productivity and undermines confidence, creating a sense of stagnation. Constant fear of judgment erodes self-assurance. You second-guess actions and withdraw from challenges, leaving growth and potential unfulfilled. Mental energy focuses more on avoidance than progress. Prayer allows perspective to shift. Asking for light strengthens inner judgment, encouraging decision-making based on clarity rather than fear. It helps reduce the emotional weight of external opinions. Gradually, freedom of action returns. You make choices confidently. Hesitation diminishes, and focus improves. Light restores balance between self-trust and social awareness, enabling steady progress. Darkness may form when success feels hollow. You achieve goals, yet satisfaction is fleeting. Emotional emptiness follows accomplishment, making progress feel meaningless despite external recognition. The mind questions whether effort is truly worthwhile, and internal motivation diminishes. This hollow feeling quietly drains enthusiasm and focus, leaving even familiar tasks uninspiring. Hollow success creates self-doubt. You compare achievements to ideals or others' accomplishments, undermining self-confidence. Motivation decreases, and daily routines may feel repetitive and unfulfilling. Prayer provides reflection. Asking for light reconnects effort with personal meaning and purpose. It reframes achievement as a tool for growth rather than mere recognition, restoring internal motivation. Gradually, fulfillment returns. You approach goals with renewed intention. Energy and focus increase, and satisfaction begins to accompany accomplishment. Light restores alignment between effort and purpose. Some darkness appears when frustration accumulates unnoticed. You face repeated obstacles and delays, small and large, over an extended period. Mental fatigue grows, making each setback feel more intense than it is. Over time, frustration becomes habitual, affecting patience, decision-making, and emotional stability. Even manageable challenges feel monumental, creating a quiet sense of overwhelm that persists. Accumulated frustration erodes confidence. You question capability and judgment. Motivation wanes as each new challenge is met with apprehension and dread. Emotional resilience weakens under the constant strain. Prayer offers a mental reset. Asking for light restores perspective, allowing you to distinguish genuine obstacles from temporary setbacks. It reduces mental fatigue and fosters calm, deliberate problem solving. Step by step, clarity returns. Frustration diminishes. Decisions feel manageable, and confidence gradually rebuilds. Light illuminates a clear path forward, turning overwhelming challenges into actionable steps and restoring emotional stability. Darkness can appear when uncertainty dominates daily life. You face choices without clear outcomes, and every decision carries weight. The mind races through possibilities, imagining mistakes, mischances, or regret. Anxiety grows quietly as mental energy is consumed with predicting scenarios that may never occur. Over time, indecision becomes habitual, and even small actions feel overwhelming. The sense of being stuck intensifies as clarity and focus fade, leaving emotional exhaustion behind. Prolonged uncertainty affects confidence. You hesitate to act, fearing that any choice could lead to failure. Overanalyzing becomes constant, leaving little room for creativity or intuition. Each day feels heavier as the pressure to choose correctly mounts, creating stress that feels inescapable. Prayer serves as a mental reset. Asking for light allows reflection without pressure, providing space to assess situations clearly. It helps distinguish what is truly within control from what is not, reducing mental clutter and emotional tension. This pause restores perspective and steadiness of thought. Gradually, clarity and confidence return. Decisions become easier, stress diminishes, and focus strengthens. Small steps forward rebuild momentum, and a sense of being trapped lifts. Light illuminates the path, creating a steady direction amidst uncertainty and restoring emotional balance. Some darkness forms when personal boundaries are repeatedly ignored. You give more than you receive, and people take advantage of your patience. Over time, resentment grows silently, leaving emotional tension. You may feel used or undervalued, and frustration seeps into thoughts and daily interactions. The mind struggles to maintain equilibrium, balancing kindness with the growing need for self-protection. Stress accumulates quietly, creating inner conflict. Overextension affects self-confidence. You begin questioning your worth and your ability to maintain relationships. Mental energy is depleted, and focus diminishes as you weigh others' needs against your own. This tension quietly undermines emotional stability and motivation. Prayer offers a pause to reset perspective. Asking for light clarifies what you can give without compromising yourself. It strengthens the ability to enforce boundaries while maintaining compassion, helping reduce resentment and restore inner peace. Gradually, emotional balance returns, boundaries feel natural, and interactions become healthier. Energy replenishes, and confidence strengthens. Light restores equilibrium, allowing generosity without personal cost, and creating sustainable emotional resilience. Darkness may appear when repeated failures affect self-belief. You try multiple approaches, yet results remain inconsistent or disappointing. Each setback leaves a trace of doubt, quietly chipping away at motivation and confidence. Over time, you may begin to question your abilities, fearing that effort is wasted. The mind becomes preoccupied with what-if scenarios, and focus diminishes under the weight of accumulated disappointment. Persistent failure reduces resilience. You may avoid opportunities, anticipating further setbacks. Overthinking dominates decisions, and even small challenges feel monumental. Self-doubt quietly erodes initiative and willingness to act. Prayer creates a space for reflection and mental rest. Asking for light allows evaluation of past actions without judgment, highlighting lessons instead of failures. This perspective restores clarity and recalibrates focus toward achievable steps rather than imagined obstacles. Gradually, confidence rebuilds, motivation returns, and action feels purposeful again. Each step forward reinforces belief in personal capability. Light illuminates practical solutions, guiding progress while restoring emotional strength and resilience. Some darkness comes when isolation dominates life. You are surrounded by people yet feel emotionally disconnected. Conversations feel superficial and meaningful connection seems absent. The mind quietly registers loneliness, which drains energy and diminishes motivation. Even routine interactions become taxing, as emotional emptiness quietly weighs on mental clarity and focus. Over time, this isolation erodes confidence in relationships and creates subtle tension in communication. Loneliness intensifies self-doubt. You may withdraw further, fearing vulnerability or rejection. Emotional detachment becomes a default, leaving opportunities for connection unexplored. Mental clarity suffers, and daily life begins to feel monotonous and unfulfilling. Prayer allows internal reflection and awareness. Asking for light encourages recognition of the value of connection and fosters hope that meaningful interaction is possible. This mental reset reduces emotional fatigue and builds inner resilience for healthy relationships. Gradually, connection becomes easier. You engage authentically. Emotional energy replenishes, and confidence grows in social interactions. Light restores a sense of belonging, allowing relationships to flourish without fear or hesitation. Darkness may appear when constant comparison affects self-esteem. You measure your life against others, noticing achievements or progress that seem superior to your own. The mind magnifies differences, quietly fostering dissatisfaction and self-doubt. Motivation falters as personal accomplishments feel insignificant. The constant mental evaluation drains energy and focus, leaving a quiet tension that affects decisions, productivity, and emotional balance. Comparisons undermine confidence and skew perspective. You may hesitate to pursue goals, fearing failure or inadequacy. Self-assessment becomes judgmental, creating mental fatigue and emotional frustration. Daily achievements lose meaning under the weight of perceived shortcomings. Prayer offers perspective and mental clarity. Asking for light encourages recognition of personal value and progress, independent of external comparison. This process restores confidence, allowing focus on growth instead of judgment. Gradually, self-esteem strengthens, Motivation increases as personal accomplishments are acknowledged. Light illuminates individuality and unique progress, restoring balance and fostering consistent forward movement. Some darkness forms when excessive responsibility becomes overwhelming. You feel accountable for outcomes beyond your control. Daily obligations accumulate silently, creating emotional tension and fatigue. Every decision carries pressure, and the mind becomes consumed with hypothetical consequences, leaving little space for clarity or creative thinking. Over time, the feeling of being overburdened impacts confidence, focus, and emotional stability. Excessive responsibility reduces resilience. Self-doubt grows as stress accumulates, and hesitation dominates decisions. Mental fatigue limits problem solving and emotional flexibility. Even minor setbacks feel magnified under the weight of continuous accountability. Prayer acts as a stabilizing practice. Asking for light allows mental space to evaluate priorities, distinguish what can be managed, and reduce emotional overload. This moment of reflection restores clarity and focus. Gradually, responsibilities feel manageable. Confidence returns and stress diminishes. Step by step, solutions emerge, and mental energy replenishes. Light restores balance, making challenges feel surmountable rather than overwhelming. Darkness can appear when repeated criticism erodes self-confidence. You receive feedback or judgment, intentional or not, and internalize it silently. Over time, the mind begins to question confidence, decisions, and worth. Emotional tension builds quietly, affecting relationships, motivation, and daily productivity. Even positive moments are overshadowed by self-doubt, creating a cycle where internal criticism dominates perception. Persistent criticism affects mental resilience. You may hesitate to act, fearing further judgment. Decision-making becomes cautious, and risk-taking diminishes. Motivation fades as perceived external approval feels unattainable. Prayer provides an internal reset. Asking for light restores self-trust and perspective. It separates constructive insight from unnecessary internalization, allowing confidence to rebuild gradually. Gradually, self-assurance strengthens. Actions feel intentional rather than hesitant. Motivation returns and emotional tension eases. Light supports clarity and self-trust, creating resilience against future criticism. Some darkness forms when hope feels distant. You work toward goals, yet progress feels slow or invisible. Frustration quietly grows as effort seems unrewarded. The mind dwells on what is missing, imagining failure before it occurs. This quiet pressure reduces energy and clarity, leaving emotional tension and mental fatigue in its wake. Each day begins to feel repetitive, further eroding motivation and emotional stability. Diminished hope affects confidence and initiative. Hesitation grows, and taking steps toward change feels riskier. Mental energy is consumed by anticipation of setbacks rather than problem solving, creating a sense of stagnation. Prayer acts as a mental and emotional reset. Asking for light restores perspective, reminding you that progress may be gradual but still meaningful. This pause allows hope to resurface and energy to focus on achievable steps. Gradually, optimism returns. Action becomes easier. Confidence builds and clarity strengthens. Light restores momentum, turning previously stagnant situations into opportunities for growth and progress. Darkness may appear when emotional burnout accumulates unnoticed. You give attention, energy, and effort to others while neglecting your own needs. Over time, motivation diminishes. Focus falters and emotional fatigue takes hold. Tasks feel heavier, patience wanes, and mental clarity fades. This quiet strain reduces confidence and increases the risk of errors or misunderstandings, further compounding stress. Burnout erodes resilience. You hesitate to engage in activities you once enjoyed, and mental energy is consumed by managing obligations rather than pursuing meaningful progress. Stress compounds quietly, leaving emotional stability fragile. Prayer provides a reflective pause. Asking for light restores awareness of personal limits, encourages balance, and strengthens internal resources. It helps prioritize what truly matters while reducing unnecessary stress. Gradually, energy returns. Tasks feel manageable again. Motivation strengthens, and emotional equilibrium is restored. Light illuminates balance, fostering sustainable engagement with responsibilities and restoring confidence and focus. Some darkness forms when fear of uncertainty dominates decisions. You hesitate to move forward, imagining countless possible outcomes, most of them negative. Anxiety quietly accumulates as indecision prevents action. Mental energy is drained by repetitive what-if thinking, creating tension and frustration. Even minor choices feel monumental under this pressure, and the mind struggles to distinguish risk from imagination. Excessive focus on uncertainty weakens confidence. You delay opportunities and avoid challenges. Fearing mistakes, mental clarity diminishes, and emotional tension grows silently, impacting motivation and resilience. Prayer acts as a stabilizing moment. Asking for light allows perspective, enabling the mind to separate imagined risk from actual choice. This clarity reduces anxiety and fosters confidence in decision-making. Gradually, hesitation fades, actions feel intentional, and momentum returns. Light restores focus, emotional balance, and the ability to navigate uncertainty with clarity and calm. Darkness can appear when self-doubt lingers after repeated effort. You try, yet results feel small or insignificant compared to expectations. The mind quietly fixates on perceived failure, replaying mistakes and imagining what should have been done differently. Frustration grows slowly, eroding confidence and motivation. Even when small successes occur, they feel overshadowed by the pressure of expectations, leaving emotional tension and mental fatigue to accumulate quietly. Self-doubt makes decision-making harder. You hesitate before taking even minor actions, fearing another misstep. Mental energy is consumed by overthinking, leaving little room for clarity or creative problem solving. Confidence diminishes as anxiety grows, creating a cycle where fear prevents progress and stagnation reinforces doubt. Prayer allows for a mental pause. Asking for light does not remove challenges, but provides perspective, helping you recognize achievements, even small ones, as meaningful steps rather than failures. This process restores clarity, reduces anxiety, and allows energy to be focused on action rather than worry. Gradually, confidence strengthens. Motivation returns as effort feels purposeful again. Decisions become easier, and mental clarity improves. Light illuminates progress and reinforces resilience, turning repeated struggle into quiet determination and steady forward movement. Some darkness forms when emotional strain accumulates unnoticed. You continually respond to stressors without taking time to recharge. Tasks and responsibilities pile up, leaving little mental or emotional space for reflection. Over time, frustration, fatigue, and tension build quietly, affecting focus, judgment, and decision-making. Small challenges feel amplified, and patience diminishes as energy drains without reprieve, creating a lingering sense of overwhelm. Chronic strain weakens confidence. Hesitation grows, and the mind begins to question your capability. Motivation diminishes, and even routine tasks feel burdensome. Emotional energy is consumed just maintaining daily responsibilities, leaving little for creativity or growth. Prayer acts as a pause for internal restoration. Asking for light brings awareness, allowing recognition of what truly requires attention and what can be deferred. This mental reset restores focus, reduces emotional fatigue, and provides clarity for prioritizing actions. Gradually, energy replenishes. Tasks feel manageable again. Decision-making improves, and motivation returns. Light illuminates priorities, restores patience, and strengthens resilience, allowing sustained progress despite ongoing demands. Darkness may appear when external expectations feel suffocating. You strive to meet demands from work, family, or social circles, but personal priorities are neglected. Pressure builds silently as obligations accumulate, leaving little mental or emotional space to breathe. Frustration and fatigue grow quietly, impacting focus and decision-making. Over time, the sense of being trapped by expectations diminishes motivation and confidence, creating emotional tension that persists even in moments of rest. Constant pressure diminishes resilience. You hesitate to act, fearing additional failure or judgment. Decisions become cautious, and energy is consumed just trying to keep pace. Mental clarity declines, leaving even minor challenges feeling overwhelming. Prayer provides an opportunity for reflection. Asking for light restores perspective, helping prioritize personal needs while maintaining obligations. This mental reset encourages focus, reduces tension, and strengthens internal resources to cope with pressure effectively. Gradually, balance is restored. Responsibilities feel manageable again. Confidence strengthens, motivation returns, and emotional clarity improves. Light illuminates priorities, allowing progress while protecting personal well-being and inner stability. Some darkness forms when fear of rejection dominates thinking. You hesitate to speak, act, or pursue opportunities, imagining negative outcomes. Anxiety quietly accumulates as avoidance becomes habitual. Mental energy is drained by imagined criticism, creating tension that affects focus, productivity, and confidence. Even supportive environments feel threatening, leaving you trapped in silent hesitation and emotional discomfort. Persistent fear undermines confidence. You second-guess every choice, limiting initiative and growth. Overthinking dominates mental space, leaving little room for creativity or decisive action. Emotional resilience weakens over time, intensifying the quiet sense of being stuck. Prayer offers mental clarity. Asking for light encourages perspective, helping separate imagined outcomes from reality and reducing anxiety. It provides space to rebuild confidence and trust in personal judgment. Gradually, hesitation fades. You take deliberate actions, regain momentum, and rebuild confidence. Light illuminates choices, restores focus, and allows decision-making without the paralyzing effect of imagined rejection. Darkness may appear when self-criticism becomes habitual. You analyze mistakes harshly, magnifying flaws and minimizing accomplishments. Thoughts replay errors repeatedly, creating tension and diminishing motivation. Confidence quietly erodes, leaving uncertainty in its place. Even small challenges feel threatening as mental energy is consumed by internal judgment rather than constructive action. Chronic self-criticism weakens decision-making. You hesitate to pursue opportunities, fearing mistakes will define you. Emotional fatigue builds, reducing patience, focus, and resilience. The quiet pressure of constant internal judgment interferes with growth. Prayer acts as a restorative practice. Asking for light softens self-criticism, fostering understanding and perspective. It helps distinguish lessons from failures, restoring confidence, and allowing deliberate, focused action. Gradually, self-assurance grows. Confidence returns and actions feel purposeful. Motivation strengthens as internal judgment transforms into constructive reflection. Light restores clarity, emotional stability, and the ability to navigate challenges without fear of imperfection. Some darkness forms when goals feel unattainable. You strive and plan carefully, yet obstacles persist, slowing progress. The mind dwells on difficulties, magnifying frustration and stress. Motivation wanes as repeated effort seems futile. Mental clarity diminishes under the weight of persistent challenges, leaving emotional tension that quietly undermines confidence. Repeated obstacles erode belief in capability. Hesitation grows, and opportunities are avoided for fear of failure. Mental energy is consumed by worry rather than productive problem solving, reducing focus and slowing progress. Prayer provides a moment of mental reset. Asking for light restores perspective, helping distinguish manageable actions from obstacles beyond control. This process strengthens resilience, reduces anxiety, and fosters renewed motivation. Gradually, focus returns, Each small step reinforces confidence and progress feels attainable. Light illuminates the path, turning perceived impossibility into structured, actionable steps, restoring clarity and emotional balance. Darkness may appear when frustration lingers silently. Repeated delays, misunderstandings, or minor setbacks accumulate, quietly affecting patience and focus. Mental energy is consumed by overthinking, leaving little space for calm thought. Stress mounts internally, creating tension that impacts decision-making and emotional stability. Even routine tasks feel heavier as unresolved frustration grows. Accumulated frustration erodes confidence. You hesitate to act, fearing mistakes will exacerbate stress. Motivation diminishes, and clarity is compromised. Mental and emotional strain grows silently, leaving a quiet sense of overwhelm. Prayer provides a reflective pause. Asking for light restores perspective, allowing recognition of what truly matters and what can be addressed calmly. It reduces mental clutter, restores clarity, and strengthens internal resilience. Gradually, tension diminishes, patience grows, focus returns, and decisions become manageable. Light illuminates practical solutions, allowing frustration to transform into constructive energy and restoring emotional stability. Some darkness forms when isolation persists over time. Social interactions are limited, and meaningful connection feels absent. The mind quietly registers loneliness, which reduces energy and diminishes motivation. Even small tasks feel heavier, and emotional tension accumulates. Over time, the lack of connection erodes confidence, leaving a subtle but persistent sense of being emotionally stuck. Prolonged isolation reduces mental resilience, hesitation grows, and energy for meaningful engagement declines. Emotional withdrawal becomes a default, reinforcing detachment and reducing opportunities for connection. Prayer provides internal reflection. Asking for light restores awareness that connection is possible and worthwhile, even when circumstances feel distant. This perspective rebuilds hope and resilience, encouraging engagement. Gradually, openness returns. Emotional energy strengthens. Social confidence improves, and meaningful interactions feel achievable again. Light restores a sense of belonging and reinforces emotional balance. Darkness may appear when unexpected change disrupts routine. Familiar structures shift suddenly, leaving the mind unsettled. Adjustment feels overwhelming, and stress quietly accumulates. Mental energy diminishes as focus is redirected toward managing the unfamiliar. Confidence falters and patience diminishes. Even minor disruptions feel significant, leaving a lingering tension that affects decision-making and emotional stability. Disruption challenges resilience. You hesitate, overanalyze, and avoid unfamiliar situations. Motivation and focus are impacted as mental energy is consumed by anticipation of challenges rather than engagement with opportunities. Prayer offers mental grounding. Asking for light restores clarity, helping adapt to new circumstances with patience and perspective. It provides space to assess priorities and make deliberate choices amidst change. Gradually, stability returns. Adjustment feels manageable, confidence strengthens, and motivation increases. Light illuminates a clear path through uncertainty, fostering calm, adaptability, and emotional resilience. Some darkness forms when effort feels invisible. You give your best, yet acknowledgement or results are minimal. Over time, discouragement grows quietly, and self-worth is challenged. Mental energy is consumed by doubt, frustration, and the need for validation. Motivation diminishes as the mind wonders if effort is meaningful or if progress is ever noticed. Emotional tension builds quietly, affecting focus, clarity, and confidence. Repeated lack of recognition erodes internal validation. You may hesitate to continue efforts, questioning whether success is possible or worth pursuing. Mental clarity diminishes as energy is consumed by internal debate and emotional stress. Prayer provides a reflective pause. Asking for light restores perspective, helping recognize the value of consistent effort, independent of external acknowledgement. It reinforces confidence and nurtures self-belief. Gradually, motivation returns. Confidence strengthens and effort feels meaningful again. Light illuminates progress, restoring focus and energy, while reinforcing persistence and emotional balance. Darkness can appear when overwhelm accumulates quietly. Daily obligations, work pressures, and personal commitments pile up, leaving little room to breathe. You feel stretched thin as mental energy diminishes and focus scatters. Even simple decisions feel heavy, and small mistakes seem magnified under stress. Emotional tension grows silently, creating a persistent feeling of being trapped. The mind races with concerns, weighing every possibility and preventing clarity from emerging, leaving motivation and patience eroded. Continuous overwhelm undermines confidence. Hesitation dominates every action as fear of failure grows stronger than the desire to move forward. Mental clarity suffers, and overthinking dominates, leaving little space for problem solving or creativity. Emotional fatigue quietly shapes responses, reducing resilience and calm. Prayer acts as a moment to pause and reset. Asking for light provides perspective, allowing you to see manageable priorities and regain mental organization. It helps differentiate what requires attention from what can wait, restoring a sense of control and focus. Gradually, clarity and energy return. Tasks feel achievable again. Decision-making improves, and motivation grows. Light illuminates priorities and guides step-by-step progress, transforming overwhelming pressure into structured, manageable action while restoring emotional balance. Some darkness forms when internal pressure becomes relentless. You demand perfection in every task, comparing results to ideal standards. Mistakes feel catastrophic, and mental tension builds silently. Emotional energy drains quickly as focus narrows on flaws instead of progress. Over time, motivation diminishes under self-imposed expectations, and confidence weakens quietly. The mind becomes trapped in cycles of judgment and correction, leaving patience and resilience eroded. Perfectionism reduces mental flexibility. Hesitation grows as fear of mistakes dominates decisions. Daily tasks feel heavier, and creativity suffers under constant internal scrutiny. Emotional fatigue quietly accumulates, creating stress that seems unending. Prayer provides mental clarity and perspective. Asking for light softens internal judgment, allowing recognition of effort and progress rather than just flaws. This moment of reflection restores confidence, patience, and emotional resilience. Gradually, self-acceptance grows. Tasks feel manageable. Motivation strengthens and focus improves. Light restores perspective, helping balance high standards with practical achievement, turning internal pressure into productive energy. Darkness may appear when expectations from others dominate thinking. You constantly adjust to meet the desires of family, friends, or colleagues, leaving personal priorities neglected. Mental energy diminishes as you juggle competing demands. Frustration quietly builds when progress feels unnoticed or unappreciated. Patience weakens, and even small challenges feel overwhelming. The mind struggles to balance personal goals with external expectations, creating subtle but persistent stress that erodes focus and emotional stability. Over-reliance on external validation reduces confidence. Hesitation grows, and energy is consumed by worrying about approval rather than pursuing meaningful action. Motivation decreases, and decision-making becomes cautious, reinforcing internal tension. Prayer offers mental recalibration. Asking for light restores perspective, helping recognize what is truly essential and what can be delegated or set aside. It strengthens resilience, allowing clear thinking and focused action without being weighed down by outside pressures. Gradually, clarity returns. Balance between personal priorities and external demands strengthens. Tasks feel achievable. Confidence builds, and motivation grows. Light illuminates boundaries and focus, restoring calm and structured progress. Some darkness forms when uncertainty about the future dominates thoughts. You anticipate outcomes with worry and imagine potential failures at every turn. Mental energy is consumed by speculation, leaving focus and motivation diminished. Anxiety grows quietly, affecting decision-making and emotional stability. Even opportunities for growth feel risky, as fear of the unknown overshadows potential progress. The mind becomes trapped in hypothetical scenarios, creating tension that limits action and confidence. Persistent uncertainty weakens resilience. Hesitation becomes habitual, and mental clarity diminishes. Confidence falters as anticipation of challenges outweighs trust in your ability to navigate them. Prayer provides a pause to regain perspective. Asking for light restores focus, helping distinguish realistic concerns from imagined risks. It strengthens mental clarity, reduces anxiety, and fosters calm decision-making. Gradually, decisiveness returns. Confidence strengthens, focus improves, and action becomes intentional. Light illuminates potential paths, transforming uncertainty into manageable steps and restoring emotional balance. Darkness can appear when mental clutter accumulates over time. Thoughts, responsibilities, and worries crowd the mind, leaving little space for clarity. Overthinking minor details drains energy and reduces focus. Small decisions feel monumental, and mental fatigue quietly erodes patience, motivation, and confidence. Even routine tasks feel more taxing as internal pressure builds silently, creating emotional tension and subtle anxiety. Mental clutter affects resilience. Hesitation dominates, and even simple choices feel overwhelming. Emotional energy is consumed by mental noise, reducing the ability to prioritize or problem solve effectively. Motivation declines as focus fragments. Prayer allows mental organization and clarity. Asking for light provides perspective, helping distinguish urgent tasks from distractions. It restores focus, reduces stress, and encourages deliberate calm action rather than reactive responses. Gradually, mental space returns. Decisions feel easier. Focus strengthens and confidence grows. Light illuminates priorities and clarifies direction, transforming mental clutter into structured, actionable steps while restoring energy and calm. Some darkness forms when unresolved conflict lingers. Interpersonal tension, whether at work or in personal life, quietly occupies the mind. Every interaction is mentally replayed, creating stress and affecting decision-making. Emotional energy is drained, patience diminishes, and even neutral situations feel tense. The mind remains occupied with what-if scenarios, reducing focus on constructive action and quietly eroding confidence and motivation. Lingering conflict undermines emotional resilience. Hesitation grows, and mental energy is diverted toward replaying past interactions rather than pursuing solutions. Decision-making and creativity are compromised, leaving a sense of stagnation. Prayer offers internal reflection and clarity. Asking for light helps separate personal responsibility from circumstances beyond control. It reduces emotional tension and restores perspective for effective problem solving. Gradually, resolution feels achievable. Confidence returns, focus strengthens, and tension diminishes. Light illuminates solutions and restores calm, transforming conflict into opportunities for clarity and constructive engagement. Darkness may appear when repeated setbacks dominate perception. You invest time and energy in goals, yet obstacles persist. Frustration builds quietly, reducing patience and focus. Motivation diminishes, and mental energy is consumed by concern over recurring difficulties. Emotional strain quietly undermines confidence, leaving decisions clouded and daily tasks feeling heavier than they should. Persistent setbacks erode resilience. Hesitation grows, and action feels risky. Mental clarity diminishes as energy is consumed by analyzing what went wrong rather than planning the next steps. Confidence weakens under repeated pressure. Prayer provides a reflective pause. Asking for light allows recognition of lessons rather than failures. It restores focus on achievable actions, strengthens perspective, and reduces emotional fatigue. Gradually, clarity returns. Confidence grows as small successes accumulate. Motivation strengthens, and progress feels tangible. Light illuminates practical paths forward, transforming setbacks into learning experiences while restoring emotional balance. Some darkness forms when overcommitment dominates life. You take on responsibilities without adequate rest or personal space. Energy depletes quickly and focus weakens. Even minor challenges feel overwhelming as mental fatigue accumulates silently. Patience diminishes, emotional tension rises, and confidence erodes under the weight of constant obligation. The mind struggles to maintain equilibrium, leaving motivation and clarity reduced over time. Overcommitment reduces resilience. Hesitation grows, and the mind becomes trapped in cycles of stress and fatigue. Decisions feel heavier, and motivation diminishes, creating a quiet sense of stagnation. Prayer provides an opportunity to recalibrate. Asking for light restores perspective, helping prioritize what truly matters and allowing energy to be allocated effectively. It reduces emotional strain and restores clarity for constructive action. Gradually, balance returns. Tasks feel achievable. Focus strengthens and confidence improves. Light illuminates priorities and restores calm, turning overcommitment into structured, manageable action. Darkness may appear when disappointment follows high expectations. You envision positive outcomes, yet reality falls short. Frustration builds quietly, eroding patience and motivation. The mind replays imagined scenarios of success, emphasizing what could have been, while diminishing recognition of progress. Emotional energy drains, leaving even small tasks feeling heavy, and confidence quietly weakens under the weight of unmet expectations. Unrealized expectations undermine resilience. Hesitation grows and self-doubt dominates decisions. Mental clarity diminishes as energy is consumed by imagined failure rather than practical steps forward. Prayer offers a pause for perspective. Asking for light helps acknowledge effort and growth despite outcomes, restoring balance and emotional stability. It provides clarity, allowing focus on achievable steps rather than regret. Gradually, hope returns, confidence strengthens, motivation grows, and mental clarity improves. Light illuminates lessons learned and possibilities ahead, transforming disappointment into insight and renewed direction. Some darkness forms when repetitive stress affects focus. Daily pressures accumulate quietly, leaving mental and emotional space crowded. Minor interruptions feel overwhelming, patience diminishes, and decisions seem harder than they should. Mental fatigue quietly erodes motivation, and energy for meaningful action declines. Even achievements feel muted under the weight of persistent tension, creating a subtle but persistent sense of overwhelm. Chronic stress weakens confidence and resilience. Hesitation dominates decisions. Energy is consumed by worry rather than problem solving, and emotional tension grows silently, further reducing clarity and motivation. Prayer provides a reflective moment. Asking for light restores mental clarity and perspective, helping prioritize tasks and reduce emotional strain. It strengthens focus and encourages deliberate, calm action rather than reactive responses. Gradually, energy and confidence return. Tasks feel manageable. Decisions become easier, and motivation grows. Light illuminates priorities, restores emotional balance, and transforms accumulated stress into structured, actionable progress. Darkness can appear when sudden disappointment shakes expectation. You anticipate a positive outcome, yet circumstances shift unexpectedly. Frustration grows quietly as the mind replays what could have gone differently. Confidence diminishes under the weight of unmet hopes and motivation falters. Even daily routines feel heavier, as subtle tension occupies mental and emotional space. Over time, hesitation becomes habitual, and decision-making is clouded by fear of repeated disappointment. Disappointment erodes resilience. You may hesitate to pursue new opportunities, fearing similar outcomes. Mental clarity is consumed by analyzing what went wrong, rather than planning next steps. Emotional energy quietly depletes, leaving motivation diminished and patience strained. Prayer provides a reflective pause. Asking for light offers perspective, allowing recognition of lessons rather than failures. It restores focus, reduces internal tension, and strengthens emotional resources for constructive action. Gradually, clarity and determination return. Confidence grows as small, deliberate steps forward are acknowledged. Motivation strengthens and mental focus improves. Light illuminates opportunities and restores balance, transforming disappointment into growth. Some darkness forms when accumulated fatigue diminishes clarity. Long days, little rest, and continuous effort gradually drain mental and emotional energy. Even small tasks feel heavier than they should. Frustration grows silently, patience decreases, and focus diminishes. Over time, decision-making becomes hesitant, and confidence quietly erodes as energy is consumed merely to keep up with daily demands. Persistent fatigue reduces resilience. You delay decisions, fearing mistakes or poor outcomes. Mental clarity weakens as concentration fragments under exhaustion. Motivation declines, leaving emotional tension quietly building in the background. Prayer provides a moment to restore perspective. Asking for light helps identify priorities, distinguish essential actions from trivial ones, and refocus energy on meaningful progress. This pause strengthens mental clarity and emotional endurance. Gradually, energy and focus return. Confidence improves. Motivation grows, and tasks feel manageable. Light illuminates priorities, restores clarity, and transforms fatigue into deliberate, structured effort. Darkness may appear when fear of failure dominates thinking. Every decision feels monumental, and hesitation becomes habitual. The mind quietly magnifies risks while minimizing potential benefits, leaving mental energy consumed by overanalysis. Motivation diminishes, patience decreases, and confidence erodes under the pressure of imagined consequences. Even routine actions feel risky, creating tension and subtle paralysis over time. Persistent fear undermines resilience. Opportunities are avoided, decisions are delayed, and mental focus diminishes. Energy is consumed by anxiety rather than productive action, reinforcing the quiet sense of stagnation. Prayer offers a mental pause and perspective. Asking for light reduces imagined risks, restores clarity, and strengthens confidence. It allows the mind to distinguish between actual obstacles and perceived threats, enabling decisive action. Gradually, courage returns. Actions feel intentional, decisions become easier, and confidence strengthens. Light illuminates realistic possibilities, transforming fear into focused, steady progress. Some darkness forms when isolation affects motivation. You spend long periods alone, with little meaningful interaction. Mental energy is drained as loneliness quietly accumulates, leaving focus diminished and patience strained. Even tasks that once felt simple now seem challenging. Emotional tension quietly builds and confidence wanes as social support feels distant or unavailable. The mind becomes preoccupied with absence of connection, affecting decision-making and mental clarity. Prolonged isolation erodes resilience. Hesitation grows, energy for engagement diminishes, and mental focus declines. Motivation declines, leaving progress slow and sporadic. Prayer provides reflection and internal recalibration. Asking for light restores awareness that connection and support remain possible, even when circumstances feel distant. It strengthens emotional endurance and mental clarity. Gradually, confidence and energy return. Engagement feels achievable again. Focus improves and patience grows. Light illuminates a path toward meaningful connection and purposeful action, restoring balance and resilience. Darkness can appear when persistent worry occupies the mind. Thoughts race continuously, imagining negative outcomes, and energy is quietly drained. Focus diminishes, patience weakens, and even simple decisions feel overwhelming. Emotional tension quietly accumulates, creating subtle stress that undermines confidence and motivation. Over time, hesitation becomes habitual, and clarity fades as worry dominates mental space. Continuous worry reduces resilience. Actions are delayed. Mental energy is consumed by imagined consequences, and decision-making becomes strained. Motivation decreases, leaving emotional tension unresolved. Prayer allows a mental pause and perspective. Asking for light restores clarity, helping distinguish real concerns from imagined fears. This reset strengthens confidence, focus, and emotional balance. Gradually, calm returns. Decision-making becomes easier, energy and motivation grow, and mental clarity improves. Light illuminates paths forward, transforming worry into deliberate, focused progress while restoring resilience. Some darkness forms when repeated setbacks erode determination. Effort is made, yet results are slow or inconsistent. The mind dwells quietly on what went wrong, reducing focus and patience. Motivation diminishes as frustration accumulates, and even small tasks feel heavier than they should. Emotional tension quietly undermines confidence and decision-making, leaving a lingering sense of stagnation and hesitation. Persistent setbacks reduce resilience. Actions are delayed, opportunities avoided, and mental energy consumed by regret rather than solutions. Confidence weakens under repeated pressure, reinforcing hesitation. Prayer offers a moment to reset perspective. Asking for light restores focus on achievable steps rather than dwelling on setbacks. It strengthens clarity, rebuilds patience, and fosters emotional endurance for productive action. Gradually, confidence and motivation return. Tasks feel achievable, mental clarity strengthens, and forward progress becomes tangible. Light illuminates solutions, transforming setbacks into structured steps toward growth. Darkness may appear when excessive mental clutter clouds judgment. Thoughts, concerns, and obligations compete for attention, leaving little room for calm focus. Mental energy is consumed by overthinking, and patience diminishes. Even routine decisions feel heavy, and subtle tension quietly builds. Over time, mental clarity diminishes, leaving motivation and confidence reduced, and emotional strain quietly accumulating. Mental clutter reduces resilience. Hesitation dominates decisions. Focus is fragmented, and energy is consumed by distraction rather than constructive action. Motivation declines as mental noise grows. Prayer provides mental reset and clarity. Asking for light helps organize priorities, distinguish what requires immediate attention, and restore focus. This practice strengthens mental clarity, patience, and emotional stability. Gradually, focus and confidence return. Tasks feel manageable, decisions are easier, and motivation grows. Light illuminates priorities, transforming mental clutter into structured, purposeful action while restoring calm and energy. Some darkness forms when overthinking dominates every choice. You weigh options endlessly, imagining consequences and second-guessing decisions. Mental energy is quietly consumed by repetitive thought patterns, leaving patience, focus, and confidence diminished. Even small actions feel challenging, and subtle tension accumulates, reducing emotional resilience and clarity. Excessive rumination reduces mental flexibility. Hesitation dominates decisions, creativity declines, and motivation decreases. Emotional energy is consumed by cycles of doubt, reinforcing stagnation. Prayer allows reflection and perspective. Asking for light restores clarity, helping separate necessary evaluation from excessive analysis. It strengthens confidence and emotional endurance, enabling deliberate action. Gradually, decisiveness returns. Tasks feel manageable. Mental clarity strengthens and motivation grows. Light illuminates paths forward, transforming overthinking into structured, intentional action while restoring confidence. Darkness can appear when unresolved emotions quietly dominate thoughts. Past disappointments, lingering doubts, or unspoken frustrations consume mental space. Focus diminishes, patience weakens, and even small tasks feel heavier. Emotional tension accumulates silently, affecting decision-making and daily productivity. Confidence erodes as energy is consumed by reflection rather than action, leaving a quiet sense of stagnation. Lingering emotions reduce resilience. Hesitation grows, mental clarity diminishes, and motivation weakens. Energy is diverted toward processing emotions rather than pursuing meaningful steps forward. Prayer provides a pause to restore perspective. Asking for light encourages reflection and emotional processing, helping separate feelings from action. This practice restores clarity, focus, and patience. Gradually, energy and focus return. Tasks feel manageable, confidence strengthens, and motivation grows. Light illuminates constructive paths forward, transforming lingering emotions into clarity, resilience, and purposeful action. Some darkness forms when the weight of responsibility feels overwhelming. Obligations accumulate, leaving little mental or emotional space to breathe. Stress quietly builds, patience diminishes, and focus weakens. Even minor decisions feel difficult, as mental energy is consumed by concern for outcomes. Emotional tension quietly undermines confidence and motivation, leaving a persistent sense of pressure that affects daily functioning. Excessive responsibility erodes resilience. Hesitation grows, and mental energy is consumed by worry rather than action. Decision-making and clarity are compromised, and emotional strain quietly accumulates. Prayer offers a reflective pause. Asking for light restores perspective, allowing prioritization of tasks and differentiation between what can be controlled and what cannot. This reset strengthens mental clarity and emotional endurance. Gradually, calm and confidence return. Tasks feel manageable, focus improves, and motivation strengthens. Light illuminates practical steps, transforming overwhelming responsibility into structured, achievable action while restoring clarity and balance. Darkness can appear when expectations are misaligned with reality. You plan carefully, set goals, and anticipate positive outcomes. Yet reality unfolds differently. Frustration grows quietly as mental energy is consumed by what should have been. Confidence diminishes, and even small decisions feel heavy under self-imposed pressure. Emotional tension builds silently, making focus harder to maintain and reducing motivation over time. Persistent misalignment erodes resilience. Hesitation grows, and actions are delayed due to fear of further disappointment. Mental clarity is consumed by analyzing discrepancies rather than seeking solutions, leaving patience and motivation diminished. Prayer provides a reflective pause. Asking for light restores perspective, helping distinguish what can be influenced from what cannot. It strengthens clarity, reduces tension, and guides intentional action. Gradually, balance returns. Confidence grows as achievable steps are recognized. Motivation strengthens, and decisions feel lighter. Light illuminates the path forward, transforming misalignment into clarity and actionable solutions. Some darkness forms when emotional fatigue quietly accumulates. Continuous effort, even in small tasks, slowly drains energy. Mental focus diminishes, patience weakens, and even routine decisions feel heavier than they should. Frustration grows quietly, reducing motivation and subtle confidence. The mind becomes preoccupied with minor setbacks, amplifying stress and tension while diminishing clarity over time. Chronic fatigue erodes resilience. Hesitation becomes habitual, decision-making is cautious, and mental energy is consumed by maintaining baseline performance rather than achieving growth. Motivation and emotional stability weaken. Prayer offers a moment to reset perspective. Asking for light restores mental clarity and emotional balance, helping identify priorities and restore focus. It reduces fatigue-driven stress and strengthens resilience. Gradually, energy and clarity return. Confidence strengthens, motivation grows, and tasks feel manageable. Light illuminates priorities, transforming fatigue into steady, deliberate progress while restoring mental balance. Darkness may appear when fear of uncertainty dominates thinking. You hesitate to act, imagining countless negative outcomes. Mental energy is quietly consumed by hypothetical scenarios, reducing focus and patience. Even small challenges feel overwhelming under persistent mental tension. Emotional energy diminishes, leaving confidence fragile and motivation low. The mind becomes trapped in cycles of imagined risk, affecting clarity and progress. Persistent fear undermines resilience. Actions are delayed and opportunities avoided. Mental focus and energy are consumed by worry rather than constructive problem solving. Motivation diminishes under constant tension. Prayer provides a stabilizing pause. Asking for light restores perspective, helping separate real risks from imagined threats. It strengthens clarity, reduces anxiety, and enables intentional action. Gradually, confidence returns. Decision-making becomes easier, focus improves, and energy grows. Light illuminates possibilities, transforming fear into measured, constructive steps and restoring emotional resilience. Some darkness forms when overthinking clouds judgment. Decisions, no matter how small, are replayed repeatedly in the mind. Mental energy diminishes as thought patterns become repetitive and unproductive. Patience weakens, and subtle tension quietly accumulates, leaving confidence and motivation reduced. Daily tasks feel heavier, and emotional energy is drained, leaving mental clarity compromised. Chronic overthinking reduces resilience. Hesitation grows, creativity diminishes, and decisions are delayed. Mental energy is consumed by analysis rather than action, leaving progress slow and motivation low. Prayer provides a reflective reset. Asking for light restores clarity, allowing differentiation between necessary evaluation and excessive mental looping. It strengthens focus, emotional endurance, and confidence. Gradually, decisiveness returns. Tasks feel manageable, motivation increases, and focus improves. Light illuminates a path forward, transforming overthinking into structured, intentional progress. Darkness can appear when isolation quietly dominates life. Extended periods without meaningful social interaction diminish energy and focus. Patience weakens. Even small responsibilities feel burdensome, and emotional tension accumulates silently. Confidence erodes as loneliness lingers, subtly affecting decision-making and motivation. The mind becomes preoccupied with absence of connection, creating subtle stagnation over time. Isolation reduces resilience. Hesitation grows. Opportunities for growth are avoided, and mental energy is consumed by quiet doubt. Motivation diminishes and emotional strain increases. Prayer provides an internal pause. Asking for light restores perspective, reminding that connection is possible even when circumstances seem distant. This strengthens emotional endurance and mental clarity. Gradually, energy returns. Confidence grows, focus improves, and tasks feel manageable again. Light illuminates paths toward meaningful engagement, restoring motivation and emotional balance. Some darkness forms when repeated failure undermines self-confidence. You attempt multiple strategies, yet results remain inconsistent. Frustration quietly builds, patience diminishes, and focus weakens. Even small achievements feel overshadowed by perceived inadequacy, leaving mental energy drained and motivation reduced. Emotional tension accumulates silently, quietly eroding confidence over time. Persistent failure reduces resilience. Hesitation grows, opportunities are avoided, and mental focus is consumed by past setbacks rather than practical solutions. Confidence declines under repeated pressure. Prayer offers reflection and perspective. Asking for light restores clarity, highlighting lessons rather than failures. It strengthens emotional endurance, rebuilds confidence, and allows deliberate, focused action. Gradually, motivation and clarity return. Small successes reinforce confidence, focus improves, and patience strengthens. Light illuminates paths forward, turning setbacks into learning opportunities and sustainable progress. Darkness may appear when mental clutter dominates thought. Numerous tasks, concerns, and obligations compete for attention, leaving little space for focus. Mental energy is quietly consumed, reducing patience and motivation. Even routine decisions feel heavy, and emotional tension quietly accumulates. Over time, clarity diminishes, and confidence is weakened by the constant background noise of competing thoughts. Cluttered thinking undermines resilience. Hesitation dominates choices. Mental energy is consumed by distraction, and motivation declines. Emotional strain increases as the mind struggles to prioritize effectively. Prayer provides a moment to regain perspective. Asking for light restores clarity, helping organize priorities and identify meaningful actions. It strengthens focus, emotional balance, and decision-making. Gradually, clarity returns. Confidence grows, motivation strengthens, and tasks feel manageable. Light illuminates priorities, transforming mental clutter into structured, purposeful action, while restoring calm and energy. Some darkness forms when persistent worry drains energy. Thoughts repeatedly focus on negative outcomes, leaving little mental space for calm or clarity. Patience weakens, even minor decisions feel heavy, and motivation diminishes. Emotional tension quietly builds, subtly undermining confidence and focus. Over time, hesitation becomes habitual, and mental clarity is compromised as worry dominates thought. Chronic worry reduces resilience, hesitation grows, energy is consumed by anxiety rather than constructive action, and motivation declines. Decision-making becomes strained, leaving emotional strain unresolved. Prayer offers a moment to regain perspective. Asking for light restores clarity, helping distinguish real concerns from imagined fears. It strengthens focus, confidence, and emotional endurance. Gradually, mental calm returns. Tasks feel achievable, decisions become easier, and motivation strengthens. Light illuminates realistic paths forward, transforming worry into constructive action and restoring balance. Darkness may appear when emotional stress quietly accumulates. Continuous pressure from obligations, relationships, or personal goals slowly drains energy. Focus diminishes, patience weakens, and even simple decisions feel heavier. Mental clarity erodes as subtle tension quietly builds. Confidence diminishes, and motivation falters under the weight of persistent strain. Chronic stress undermines resilience. Hesitation grows. Mental energy is consumed by fatigue, and decision-making becomes cautious. Motivation and patience decline, leaving emotional strain unresolved. Prayer provides a reflective pause. Asking for light restores perspective, helping prioritize actions and reduce unnecessary tension. It strengthens clarity, focus, and emotional endurance. Gradually, energy and confidence return. Tasks feel manageable, decisions are easier, and motivation strengthens. Light illuminates paths forward, transforming accumulated stress into structured, deliberate progress. Some darkness forms when fear of judgment dominates thinking. You hesitate to express yourself, fearing criticism or disapproval. Mental energy is quietly consumed by imagined reactions, reducing focus and motivation. Even small decisions feel risky, and patience diminishes as hesitation becomes habitual. Emotional tension quietly undermines confidence, leaving subtle paralysis in everyday actions. Persistent fear undermines resilience. Actions are delayed. Energy is consumed by imagined consequences, and motivation declines. Decision-making is cautious and slow. Prayer offers perspective. Asking for light restores clarity, helping differentiate between real feedback and imagined criticism. It strengthens confidence and emotional endurance. Gradually, courage returns. Decisions become easier, focus improves, and energy grows. Light illuminates realistic possibilities, transforming fear of judgment into intentional, constructive action. Darkness can appear when self-doubt quietly accumulates. You question every decision, replay past mistakes, and imagine future failure. Mental energy is consumed by overanalysis, leaving focus and motivation diminished. Patience weakens, emotional tension quietly builds, and confidence is reduced. Even minor challenges feel heavier, leaving a subtle sense of being stuck. Persistent self-doubt reduces resilience. Hesitation grows, mental clarity diminishes, and opportunities are avoided. Energy is consumed by internal debate rather than constructive action. Prayer provides a moment of reflection. Asking for light restores clarity, helps identify achievable steps, and strengthens confidence. It reduces internal tension and strengthens emotional endurance. Gradually, decisiveness returns. Tasks feel manageable, focus improves, and motivation strengthens. Light illuminates realistic possibilities, transforming self-doubt into constructive action and steady progress. Some darkness forms when repeated delays create frustration. You plan carefully, yet obstacles persist, slowing progress. Mental energy is consumed by anticipation and worry, reducing focus and patience. Motivation diminishes, and even small tasks feel burdensome. Emotional tension quietly builds, subtly undermining confidence and clarity over time. Persistent delays erode resilience. Hesitation grows. Mental energy is diverted to imagining worst-case outcomes, and motivation declines. Confidence weakens, and patience diminishes under repeated stress. Prayer provides a reflective pause. Asking for light restores clarity, helping focus on actionable steps rather than dwelling on obstacles. It strengthens emotional endurance and decision-making. Gradually, confidence and focus return. Motivation grows. Tasks feel achievable, and progress becomes tangible. Light illuminates solutions, transforming delays into structured steps forward. Darkness may appear when accumulated pressure reduces mental clarity. Continuous expectations, obligations, or responsibilities quietly consume energy. Even routine tasks feel heavy. Patience diminishes, and subtle tension quietly accumulates. Mental fatigue reduces focus. Motivation declines, and confidence is quietly undermined. Decision-making becomes slower, leaving emotional strain unresolved over time. Persistent pressure weakens resilience. Hesitation grows, mental energy is consumed by worry, and focus declines. Emotional tension quietly accumulates, reducing motivation and clarity. Prayer provides a reflective moment. Asking for light restores perspective, helping prioritize actions and regain clarity. It strengthens focus, emotional endurance, and decision-making ability. Gradually, mental clarity and motivation return. Confidence grows, patience strengthens, and tasks feel manageable. Light illuminates priorities, transforming pressure into deliberate, structured progress. Some darkness forms when uncertainty dominates thought. You anticipate outcomes with worry, imagining possible failure in every scenario. Mental energy is quietly drained, focus diminishes, and patience weakens. Motivation declines as hesitation becomes habitual. Emotional tension quietly undermines confidence, leaving subtle stagnation that affects daily progress. Persistent uncertainty reduces resilience. Hesitation dominates action. Mental energy is consumed by imagined consequences, and motivation diminishes. Decision-making becomes cautious and slow. Prayer provides clarity. Asking for light restores perspective, helping distinguish realistic concerns from imagined risks. It strengthens confidence, focus, and emotional stability. Gradually, decisiveness returns. Confidence grows. Motivation strengthens, and mental clarity improves. Light illuminates possibilities, transforming uncertainty into structured, achievable action. Darkness can appear when accumulated stress quietly overwhelms. Daily pressures, unresolved tasks, and constant obligations silently drain energy. Focus diminishes, patience weakens, and even routine decisions feel heavy. Mental and emotional fatigue quietly build tension, undermining motivation and confidence. Over time, hesitation becomes habitual, leaving subtle paralysis in progress. Chronic stress reduces resilience. Hesitation grows. Energy is consumed by anxiety rather than action, and mental clarity declines. Motivation and focus decrease under quiet pressure. Prayer provides a reflective pause. Asking for light restores perspective, helping organize priorities and reduce tension. It strengthens clarity, emotional balance, and decision-making. Gradually, energy and motivation return. Tasks feel manageable, focus improves, and confidence strengthens. Light illuminates priorities, transforming accumulated stress into deliberate, structured action and restoring emotional resilience. No matter how overwhelming darkness may feel, there is always a way to regain clarity and confidence. Challenges, setbacks, fatigue, or fear may quietly accumulate, but reflection and intentional pause provide a path forward. Each small step taken with focus and awareness restores energy, rebuilds motivation, and strengthens resilience. Light does not always arrive instantly, but persistence, clarity, and calm action gradually illuminate the path. By pausing, resetting, and prioritizing, mental and emotional balance can be restored, even in the toughest moments. What feels heavy today can become manageable tomorrow with deliberate, steady steps. Even in prolonged difficulty, progress is possible. Each thoughtful action, no matter how small, reinforces confidence and restores clarity. Darkness is temporary when you allow space for reflection, perspective, and focused movement. The key is to keep moving, even slowly, trusting that clarity and purpose will return. Light emerges as patience, reflection, and deliberate action align. Step by step, obstacles transform into opportunities, hesitation into confidence, and struggle into structured progress.